Good morning, Fit Old Dog here. I just want to talk to you briefly about the importance of core training and pelvis or hip flexibility. You'll notice that my left leg is here with my left ankle on my right knee. This was the side that used to be so tight, I just couldn't get here without lifting my foot up. As you can see, it's starting to become much like the other side, very relaxed. So not quite there, but close. This is because of my working on hip flexibility. There are three things, I guess, over the last 8 or 10 years I've noticed about the importance of hip flexibility and core strength. And your core muscles are all those around the pelvis, even part of your hip flexors, all the muscles down here in the lower back, the glutes, the hip rotators. And having strength there is very important. And I suspect is more important than I suspected. Number one, if I do pigeon pose, my quads loosen up. But pigeon pose loosens my hip rotators, not my quads, but they definitely slacken. If I loosen my iliacus and psoas hip flexors, I've noticed that it lets my lateral hamstrings loosen, and sometimes even my calves, if they're tight, can be loosened by just pushing on and gently releasing those hip flexors, suggesting a relationship between hip tightness and the tension in my hamstrings and my calves, and it can even extend to aching in my feet. So I'm starting to suspect that many of our ills in our lower limbs come from tightness and lack of strength in our pelvic region, our core, and our hip flexibility, which is pretty strange. The third thing that convinced me of the importance of this region for all sorts of strange things, such as so-called plantar fasciitis, which I call acute morning heel pain, that can progress to problems with the plantar fascia, but that's pretty rare. Acute morning heel pain, I discovered after several years of research, could be induced when I was recovering from it by simply sitting on my hamstrings on a soft seat that pushed on my hamstrings. And then if I came forward and loosened those hamstrings very gently, remember it's a conversation, not a thing you do to your muscle. If I gently relax those hamstrings, my acute morning heel pain would vanish just like that, and I could recreate it simply by sitting on my hamstrings. But I can loosen my hamstrings by increasing flexibility in my pelvic muscles and in my core. So the most important thing to learn is how to really increase the strength of your core, but also its flexibility, especially in hip rotators and glutes and hip flexors. And this is done by some very simple exercises, not crunches. I don't think crunches are much use unless you're interested in a six-pack, which at the age of nearly 74 I doubt I'll have or need. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're having trouble with tight hamstrings, tight calves, sore feet, acute morning heel pain, general tightness or tightness in your lower back due to tight psoas muscles, maybe spend a little bit of time increasing flexibility in your hips, and there are many exercises, one of which I like is pigeon pose, and also increasing strength in your core without risking your lower back. And you could take courses in Pilates or Continuum, or you can look at videos on the internet. So I guess the message of this brief conversation about my work to stay flexible, active, healthy, and in Ironman training in my 70s is to spend at least some time focusing on both pelvic flexibility or hip flexibility and core strength. I think those two are quite important because underneath tightness is weakness, and tightness in your hamstrings or calves may be because of weakness in your core. So this is well worth investigating. So that's the message for today as I work to loosen up the iliacus I strain by breaking the 10% rule. No fool like an old fool. Okay, that's it. Over and out from Fit Old Dog, enjoying this lovely day in North Carolina. Bye.